Meeting will please come to order. We're going to approve the posting of terms of Chapter 551 of the Texas Government Code as amended, known as the Texas Open Meetings Act. Any members of the public who wish to speak shall each have 5 minutes to address the court.
Good morning. I'm Charles Morgan. I'd like to address the court concerning the Railroad Commission and House Bill 1818. I handed out some of the sunset review that I presented to the Sunset Review Commission. I will introduce a new issue that must be addressed and assigned to the Railroad Commission: control of noise. Since the Railroad Commission currently regulates oil and gas operations and drilling wells at facilities, pipelines, and equipment pertinent to pipelines, we request the Sunset Review Commission recommend a state noise bill assigning regulation of noise emitted by oil and gas operations and facilities to the Railroad Commission. The proposed noise bill is included in my attachments. The need, although the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency was tasked by the federal law in 1972 to develop noise control parameters, no one is regulating noise in unincorporated areas of the states, because the federal authority was delegated to cities and states in 1982. Only 6 states picked up on that authority. Texas was not one of them. Cities have noise authority within their boundaries, but low-frequency noise travels 5 to 8 miles and into cities, thus affecting city residents as well as people residing in the counties. The problem: our people are dying, our bodies damaged while in the womb until we reach the tomb. Fort Worth, Texas has numerous babies with brain damage while in the womb, as well as low birth weight. There are 4,200 gas wells in Tarrant County having a gas compressor station for every 42 gas wells on average. Our children are being affected with just living within their homes. 2 children and their families living near my home in Freestone County, Texas, had their eardrums ruptured, but at the same time mine were ruptured. I was diagnosed with brain damage in 2007 after 3 days of severe low-frequency noise in my home caused by a nearby gas compressor station with 11 1,340 horsepower compressors. There are 130 gas compressors within Freestone County supporting 3,058 gas wells. 4 adults in Freestone County have been killed by the low-frequency noise. Noise meter readings at their homes vary from 85 decibels on the environmental scale, BBC, and the environmental limits are 55 hearing range. The low frequency range below 500 cycles per second. The intensity of noise doubles for every 3 decibel increase. Noise affects not just to our hearing. It's a whole body pathology according to the Human Development Center in Lisbon, Portugal. They named the disease, the noise affects vibroacoustic disease. The symptoms are numerous. Each of our body's systems operate at a different low frequency. When that body system low frequency noise limits are exceeded, bad things happen. We estimate 2,314,304 persons are being affected in the 27 counties having more than 1,000 gas wells each. 80% of our 254 counties in Texas have gas wells and compressors. We must protect our citizens of Texas by regulating the noise in unincorporated areas of the state. We think this should be assigned to the Railroad Commission since the oil and gas facilities generate the low-frequency noise. Now, I gave them 7 attachments. One defining what the vibroacoustic disease is, and defining what the parameters that need to be checked, and Texas counties with more than 1,000 gas wells. There's 27 counties in Texas out of 254 that have more than 1,000 gas wells. And Freestone County is number 8 out of 254 counties as far as the number of gas wells. We must protect our citizens of Texas by regulating the noise in unincorporated areas of the state, and we feel this should be assigned to the Railroad Commission since the oil and gas facilities generate low-frequency noise. And I have 7 attachments to this presentation to these 27 senators and representatives. One was defining vibroacoustic disease, low-frequency noise limits and effects. But anyway, this defines what the problem is, and they included in the state law that we need to protect our citizens. They don't know it. But we need data to show that this county has a problem. And we need a noise meter purchased and run by someone in the county personnel. And you have an environmental guy, and I don't think he does anything about environmental. But we need to get him a meter. It's $1,800, a little over that.
Okay, it's your 5 minutes.
Ma'am?
Your 5 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else that would like to speak this morning?
I just wanted one more comment. My blood pressure is over 200 the past 3 days because it was nearby compressor station. This should be handled.
All right, we'll go to item number 1, which is to approve the minutes of October 19th and October 28th meetings. Beth? Any discussion on the minutes?
Only thing is, and I should have said something here tonight, on the last page of the last meeting, where it says the bridge will be non-weight bearing, that should be no
Weight
weight,
limit.
no weight limit.
No weight limit. Okay. Do we have a motion to approve with that change?
I'll make a motion. Yes, sir.
All in favor? Aye. Motion carried. Item number 2, budget transfers amendment.
Judge Grant, that was one last cleanup, hopefully, for 2022.
22.
And then there's a couple 2023s in there.
Short page is 23.
Yeah.
Long page is 22.
On number 10, budget check number 2, did y'all get some money from the highway department?
What do you mean?
This is HWY department.
It's supposed to be. That is the highway department.
Highway patrol.
From Owen?
Well, highway patrol.
Yeah, you can say
That
DBS. You can say DBS.
DCS. I don't know what I usually put. You don't know what I meant.
Lloyd, but
Lloyd
it's
taught me
not.
how to do it.
Wow.
I was not supposed to say nothing.
I'm not supposed to approve the budget line items and transfers.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Item number 3 is to approve and pay the bills.
pay the bill.
I second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 4 is to approve the payroll.
What maintenance department did we hire in?
The lady that used to clean the courthouse,
Oh, okay.
and she was off for a while, and she's come back.
I believe that's what we called it before. If y'all want me to call it something else, but I think that's what we called it before.
I see that he was just getting a new maintenance person he didn't know about. No.
Yeah.
Do we have a motion on the payroll?
I'll make it.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 5 is reports. I have a report from JP2. Are there any other reports from anyone? If not, do we have a motion to accept the report?
I'll make that motion. Second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 6, burn ban. It is off right now.
Leave it off.
Leave it off.
Leave it off.
Leave it off. Jerry, you're back there. Does that sound good to you,
Awesome. I like it. Yes, ma'am.
sir?
Yes, ma'am, I like it.
Item number 7, special road use agreement. I have a criminal justice practitioner test from Cinnamon and from Jamie, JP's. Jamie Myers completed the cybersecurity course. Do we have any others? If not, do we have a motion to accept these?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion carried. All right, item number 9 is to address concerns of the JP2 and JP4 offices. The prior decision was to move JP4 to the Teague office. We discussed that several times in prior years. I know when Craig was here, he had talked about trying to get more cases filed in JP2 so that there would be more in that office. Now, the main basis for this move is the workload as reflected in the reports. It's not anything personal, it's just strictly based on the amount of work that shows on the reports and in other areas. The JPs could either share a full-time secretary or each have a part-time secretary. And as I understand it, the current secretary for JP, have you agreed to stay on as part-time until your house is done?
What we discussed was, I'd stay on full-time.
By contract.
Or if if my salary couldn't be put back in, then we discussed a contract, agreement.
Mhm. Okay.
And we never did discuss cutting her salary to part-time. It was,
Well, it could be 29 hours a week, so it would be basically full-time.
I disagree. I
All right,
disagree.
that's what we have in, that,
She
All right, that's not
stays
really in the
busy.
budget. What we have right now is that they would share a full-time secretary or each have a part-time secretary. I'm talking about what we had talked about originally, and that would be reevaluated and adjusted if necessary.
I got something caught my attention. I don't know if we can move them forward too.
We can.
What about this government code that states that if they're not in, if they're not in the county seat, they're not supposed to be out of there unless the justice requests it.
All right, this says the justice, or unless the justice of the peace is situated in the county courthouse in a county with a population of at least 305 people. A justice of the peace may not be housed or conducted in a building located outside the court's precinct, except as provided by 27051F or 2705115, or unless the justice of the peace is situated in the county courthouse in a county with a population of at least 305. So if you read 27051F and 2705115, then there are some concessions on there.
National disaster.
Pardon?
A disaster.
It's a disaster, and if the justice requests to be moved, well, I know that's two of them.
One of them. But then there is another one. There is another one that addresses it. That says that you can, if it's in another designated county office.
Well, it ought to be in there, then should
It is in the statute.
yeah.
The 0515 is about the disasters.
That's correct, so that doesn't apply. The Commissioners Court may provide an office building or jail facility at a location in the county outside the county seat in the same manner as applicable such buildings or facility of the county seat. The Commissioners Court may provide for the building or facility through the issuance of bonds as provided, and then, or through the issuance of evidence of indebtedness. The Commissioners Court may provide office space in the building or facility for any county or precinct office. However, a county officer who has provided space in the building or facility shall maintain an office at the county seat and shall keep the original records of the office at that office unless otherwise required during a disaster as defined by 418. So you go down to the next B, Commissioners Court may authorize places located in the county but outside the municipality designated as the county seat as auxiliary courts for the holding of court providing, and may designate those places as auxiliary county seats for this purpose.
I'd like to say something if I could. Is it all right?
Sure.
Melissa stays busy with civil. It doesn't bring in any revenue, but there's several things, the hearings, if anybody's familiar with civil.
Are those all on your reports though?
If they're completed. The thing, it doesn't show if
When they're
there's other,
filed, it shows that they're filed.
when they're filed, but it doesn't show. You may have several hearings, several different types of hearings. We have a lot of civil, and I was
And those are
not,
filed also, so
they're reported initially. They're reported initially, and that's all. Whenever they close out, it doesn't say that it takes months sometimes to settle that hearing, and it doesn't say anywhere that our court is supposed to make revenue. We're fair and honest. I don't look at cases during any time until the hearing. And she stays busy full time. And I think if you divide and put JP4 in there, we're gonna be crowded. And I know one clerk cannot handle. I was a clerk myself for 6 years, and I'd just like to put this
When you
opinion.
look at the reports, and you add up what 2 and 4 show on your reports, the OCA reports, those two added together don't have as much activity as 1 does or 3 does.
But the reason for that is because tickets are being filed in the wrong court. It may say milepost 183, but it's filed in 1 or 3.
I've had a few myself.
Yes.
I
And
understand
that was what we were trying to get Craig Oaks. During that time, that's what he was trying to do. It's not filed because of low revenue. And
Well, revenue is not what we look at. It's the number of
no,
cases.
not one bit, but evidently people do. You're trying to put JP4 in with our office, and I don't believe it's gonna work.
I was a clerk for 9 years, and I don't think I could handle both precincts. Regardless of what the workload is, there's always something to do, and those things need to be kept separate. Mistakes can get made. The county could get sued if there's a big mistake.
We have a lot of people coming into our office asking questions, and we tried to direct them to the correct place. I believe Tig, being the first or second largest city in the county, needs to keep that representation, and that's my opinion. And my opinion is only for 51 more days, so.
My thought is on it is that I'm a new JP going in, and I can assure you, I have learned that there is a whole lot to learn. We've got Melissa that's been there a couple of years, that's way overqualified for what she's doing, but does an excellent job. I don't know Lisa's assistant, our clerk, but I think she's been there a year. She's young. Money's important to everybody, but stress takes more burden than money does. So what my fear is, we'll wake up 6 months from now, not have a clerk, period, and then have to hire somebody off the street that knows nothing. You got a new JP that's been there, hadn't been there, you'd think, oh shit, you got another one that's been there a year, less than a year maybe. So we need some help. You know, you are elected to run the county's business, but we're elected by the same people to run our precinct business, our JP office. And if we don't have the help and all to do it, then you know, we're not gonna be able to do the job that we need to do if we don't each have a clerk. And if we can't work something out to keep Melissa there to not only help, because she answers some questions I know for some of the other clerks from time to time. But, you know, I just think there ought to be some way to work that out where we'd be sure we take, I mean, I guess it's selfish on my part that we keep her.
That was addressing, trying to keep her on until she's going to move. When do you think you'll be moving? Do you think?
I don't know exactly when. I mean, a year, about a year. I mean, the house takes 10 to 12 months, so I told Jimmy that I would stay as long as I could to help him transition, so.
And I was told that the first time I went and talked to Melissa. As soon as I announced, I went and told her that, you know, said, because I didn't know she was gonna leave, you know, said, stay in the boat, and I may occasionally be hard to get along with, but most of the time I'm pretty easygoing. I've worked with a lot of people through the years, and she told me, she said, well, I'm leaving, but I'm not gonna leave until I get my house built, and, you know, I figured that'd be 6 months or so at least, I mean, probably. But anyway, that's neither here nor there, I guess, but.
I know Andy and I went over to TIG and, basically looking at the office and office size and stuff. Debbie came in while we were there, and we talked, and I told Debbie that I thought that the, going to one secretary was out, that it would be reevaluated once Melissa left. And what Melissa and I talked about, right after the budget hearings were over, was that she would stay on as a contract employee, but her salary wouldn't change. It was never about lowering her salary. I never discussed that with her. I wanted to be able to keep her there, and for whatever that time frame is, that she can stay before she moves. That was an ample amount of time for her knowledge to be transferred over to the existing secretary for JP2 or JP4 right now. And then there would be a evaluation. Do we need another person full time? Should it be a part-time, or do we need anybody at all? But as far as interrupting the health the way it is right now, I sure don't have any intentions of doing that. I think that Melissa is valuable over there, and moving
all of
forward.
that kind of was decided because we thought you were leaving at the end of the year.
Right.
So that's why I don't think that we can do a contract.
That's what I was just talking.
I don't think legally we can do a contract. So what we have to decide would be either to leave her as full-time until she leaves, but then not rehire someone until we evaluate it again.
Yeah. I mean, that's what I call giving this a chance to see if it's gonna work or not.
Yeah.
And if it's a year down the road,
Just look at it at that time and see what the workload is to determine.
How would you transition,
By
how would you transition one clerk to the other and get the knowledge so that they can pick up where Melissa leaves off? I mean, how would you do that if you don't do anything until the last minute?
What now?
Well, my understanding, what you're just saying is you would reevaluate her position once she leaves.
The position.
Right, okay. Are they gonna bring a clerk on to help transition over? Or are you gonna just wait until
Well,
she?
we won't wait till the day she leaves. We'll wait till it's close to time and see if we're gonna rehire someone, or hire another person, or what we're gonna do.
If you hire somebody part-time, though, say during the period while she's still here to be learning,
Well, that's.
what
We
kind
got
of,
some of that in the budget.
but what kind of
We
employees?
can look at that and see what we
But
need
what
to
kind
do
of
to make it work. yeah.
what kind of part-time person you gonna hire for $2,000 budget?
Was that all it was?
Well, and that was just put in there for if somebody had to be out for a day and you needed somebody just to answer the phone or fill in or something like
We're
that.
really talking about two different things, though,
It's
because
a
there's no
different
money
thing.
budgeted
This is a
if we
different
hire
thing than
somebody
what we
part-time,
originally
because
talked
they're,
about.
you know, 29 hours, 28 hours, whatever a month. You know, that doesn't go very far, because, you know, nobody's gonna probably take that job unless,
Well, at that time, we'd have to reevaluate, we may have to make some transfers as far as funds, depending on how that works out, yeah. But for right now, is everybody agreeable that we would keep her on full-time
Full-time.
until she leaves?
Full time.
And then when it comes that time, when
I don't know why we couldn't, if we're gonna amend the budget, why we couldn't amend the budget to reinstate that full-time position, and when she leaves, the money's there. I mean, without having to go back and and then we'd evaluate it without,
Well, that's what we'd have to do, is make it full-time for her
Yeah.
until she leaves. Yes, put the money, that money in the budget for the full-time.
I mean,
I never knew that it was gonna be a part-time position because I know it won't work.
We weren't originally talking about it being a full-time position because we thought she was going to leave. That's what triggered the change.
I couldn't.
All right, what are we going, what is the?
Well, I think we need to discuss the other part of this matter. Like I say, I'm for leaving Melissa full-time until she moves. But then I guess the other part of this is the move itself. And I am in favor of moving both JPs in that office.
Who is wanting my office? What's the reason for it? Because the previous meeting, it was to move Mr. Black over there, but now I've been told he's moved to the 3rd floor.
Well, the purpose of it was to consolidate the two into that office.
So now what's the reason? Is that the reason now? If we're gonna keep a full-time clerk each, then what's the reason?
Well, we've had a request by deputies to be moving them and utilizing those office spaces so that there's not 3 people sharing computers in this one building right here.
So we're gonna move my office that's been there for about 15 years because of that. Who's gonna pay for it? Whose budget is it gonna come out of for the new phone line, fax line, all the stuff that needs to be done?
Yes. That'll be taken care of.
When is this supposed to happen? Sounds like it's already been decided.
Well, that was the discussion at the previous meetings, and we have had this discussion over several years, but we didn't want somebody to lose their job, so we were kind of waiting until it would be a good time to consolidate those two into one office.
No one has asked me how much stuff we have, how much furniture and storage, how many file cabinets we have. I've been over there myself and I don't see that there's room.
I want to clarify something first. We've already got our office over there. So, I mean, we've got our room over there, so we're not needing her. Just to make clarify.
You were gone when I was approached about that, and like I say, it was still too, I know you got your CIDs moved over there, but this was about moving deputies over there so that they're not sharing the same desk and the same places for evidence and paperwork and stuff like that.
I kind of come back to the same thing though. The JPs are elected just like y'all. I mean, if you need more space for the deputies aren't elected. I'm not saying they're not important, I'm not saying they don't need space. But still, we've got the responsibility to take care of our precinct, our office. And so I think that ought to be considered. I mean, you know, again, we're elected just like you all are, or the judge, anybody else, you know. And so, you know, I think that's something ought to be considered. I mean,
I'm for leaving things alone and not disrupt the precinct 2 office. I mean, I think about I don't know where all the records are gonna go. I mean, after y'all showed me the records that y'all have, I don't know if she's.
We have 6 file cabinets of things, not to mention all of our desks and computers.
I think what you'd be doing is taking the same problems you're saying the sheriff's department's having and putting it in JP's office, the same problem. Everybody stacked on each other.
All right. So what are we gonna do?
Is Willie coming over here?
If we, pardon?
Is Willie coming over here?
I don't know. I hadn't planned on that.
We've got an office in there too.
Well,
And
that's,
you got one over here too,
that's the point, yes.
already.
We will, if we need additional space, we'll have to figure out, how we wanna address that, if we're gonna move it. We'll have to look at it and see how we, what additional stuff we need to do. So it may be a little while before the move, because we will make it to where it's workable for you, if that's what we do. Yes.
What can I do as a clerk to help facilitate the decision on whether or not to have two separate clerks? I mean, because the reports that we provide those are just docketed cases. Those are not anything outside of what's on the docket. And we do a lot of what outside of
all
that.
the cases that are filed.
Just the cases that are filed, but we still get calls on questions for petitions and for potential dockets that never get filed
Sure.
and other things. So what can I do to help, I guess, help you make a knowledgeable decision on what actually this position does on a daily basis? I mean, I can start documenting. I tried to provide an additional report at least on, because it'll show when the case is docketed or filed and then when it's disposed, but it doesn't show you, that OCA report doesn't show you how many hearings we have on that particular case, but the additional shows you how many hearings we have in that month. So I tried to start providing that so you could at least see how many hearings we were doing. Some cases heard, 2 to 3 times, so. But there's other things outside of just court cases that we handle, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I mean, like I said, I even do the janitorial stuff sometimes, when Steve is not available, so. I did file maintenance, I don't have a lot of, if I'm not doing the regular day-to-day business, there is plenty right now to keep me busy, so.
All right, so what do you
If we're gonna amend the budget for her full-time salary, I don't know why we need to mess with anything, if everybody's in place, and that's my opinion, without disrupting and just completely stirring the thing up.
Judge Grant, can I say something? At one time, I did have the most revenue. It changes and it shifts according to who's there and who's not.
And that's why we said we would reevaluate to see. I don't think things will change. We do. What are we gonna do?
Judge
We need to make a
Ireland.
decision today. I think we need to make one today. So it's behind us.
I said we make the move and see how it works. If it doesn't work, then we do something different.
There's no reason for
By the-
us
by
to
the-
move.
By the stuff that we were provided at budget time, is when we made this decision. And that was stuff that was sent from them to us to make that decision.
But it
Now,
was
are we
never
also going to-
discussed with
What are we
us.
gonna do about the salary?
Continue with the salary like it is. With her salary until she leaves or
Until she
whatever.
leaves, getting her
And
salary.
then we'll reevaluate it like you talked about a little ago. That's just my opinion.
If there's no reason for us to move, why move? If no one needs my office, why disrupt my office?
There's a lot more moving parts than you're realizing here, right?
We are gonna have.
We're out of room in the records building. Renee's wanting the 2 offices that the sheriff's department have been using in the hallway of the clerk's office. Like I say, there's just,
To move her records out of there so that the,
where the election administrator
person
is out of
can
room, so
only-
Renee's records out of there, but if we have them come over here, which displaces what the sheriff's department was going to use for room. And I'm telling you, it's a vicious circle, but we're definitely running out of room. And that building across the street is an option. And to not consider moving an office out of there that is not handling as much transaction and moving it to TIG, I mean, I don't see why it's a bad idea.
all right, is that a motion?
Just me.
All right, you have the motion?
Yes.
You do have it? Okay.
What is that motion? Could you
Clarify.
clarify that motion?
All right, the motion is to move JP 4 to the chief office and to continue the JP 2 salary until you move.
The JP2 secretary's salary.
Secretary, JP 2 secretary salary, yes. All right, is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carried. All right, we'll now go to item number to approve the purchase of 40 sections of roller shells from Morrison Metal Manufacturing in the amount of $46,524 for the county clerk. I believe you've talked about that before, about ordering those at budget time. The motion would be to approve the purchase of 40 sections of roller shells from Morrison Metal Manufacturing in the amount of $46,524. Is that a motion? And that was budgeted.
I'll make that motion. I say.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 11, approve the purchase of electronics for the shelves from Datum Storage Solution in the amount of $37,083.
Make a motion.
I'll second.
All in favor, aye. And these are to consolidate records so that we can get them all in the same office. Item number 12, profile contract for preservation, imaging, and recreation. And a lot of these, all of these that we're looking at right now are coming out of those special funds where we collect fees off of cases that are filed. On the preservation and the archive funds is what these are coming out of. So co-file, we have a motion on that contract. Do you have a $12.95?
Yes, ma'am.
We do have a $12.95.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 13 is consider ordering prohibiting certain fireworks in unincorporated areas of Freestone County. And that is to prohibit missiles with fins and skyrockets with sticks. Everything else they can do. Yes. If the court decides to adopt an order, the order may prohibit or restrict the sale or use of restricted firearms, which are defined as skyrockets with sticks and as missiles with fins.
Who put this on the agenda?
Well, we have to put it on this. We don't have to adopt it.
We need a motion.
No motion. If there's no motion, we won't adopt it. No motion.
So no action.
No action. Item number 14 is community block grant. We have previously used the block grant for Butler. And as long as I can remember, it's been from Butler because we've not ever had a request before. But this time we have a request from South Freestone County Water Supply Corporation to be able to use that Texas Community Block, it's black, but it's block grant. And that grant is available only every 2 years. It's a 2-year thing. So,
And we have to sponsor them, is that correct?
we just have to pick the one that is able to do that, but we've always used Butler, so they've gotten a lot of,
Yeah, we need to start it
In
around.
good shape.
but because we've never had anybody ask for
Y'all are getting hit pretty hard with all these,
it. Yeah,
all
Yes,
this,
the system's over 50 years old and the lines that are in the
Yeah.
ground are just starting to,
but all the new meters, and I mean, y'all are getting hit
Yes.
pretty hard.
yeah, we had 5 new calls yesterday.
Yeah, because y'all cover such a large area.
do we have a motion to award the community block grant to South Freestone Water Supply
I'll make that
Corporation?
motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carried. Item number 15, resolution for regional solid waste grant. We talked before about some of those areas that we could do a block grant, that we could get a grant for some equipment. And Jeannie has volunteered to administer this grant. And we have to have a resolution. And you can read it. It's basically just saying that we can apply for it.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Item number 16 is to accept donations to the Senior Center from Bobby and Andy Bonner in memory of Geneva Carroll for $250. Do we have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Thank you, Andy.
Yes, ma'am.
Item number 17, Air Med Care Network Air Evac. They had come to us, and after talking about it, there are some people that are interested in using this service, and it can be a payroll deduction. So all we have to do is approve it being a payroll deduction. Isn't that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
We will need to work out what it's gonna look
Yeah.
like to sign somebody up and all that.
Yes.
Decide how they're gonna sign up, so.
I think we should.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carried. Comments from commissioners, board members.
I got a little message from Jody them about their new, you want to talk about y'all's new equipment that y'all got, Jody?
Yes, the revolver, compressor and fill station that y'all agreed to pay for through the grant. It actually arrived Wednesday. They're supposed to be getting with us on an installation date, so hopefully by the end of next week, we'll have it installed and then we'll be going. Help carrying things here. Thank you.
I have a question. When is the move supposed to take place? Because I'm gonna need some time for planning.
Well, and we'll have to see about the phone lines and
All of that needs to be set up before we
before
move.
you move.
I'm gonna need moving boxes. It's going to be a process.
Yes. We'll need to go over too and see about who's gonna move where and what other additional space you might need and how we're gonna work that out.
I would like to be communicated with. I don't want someone coming to my office telling me they're moving me the next day.
Any other comments from commissioners, board members?
Motion to adjourn.